Hi. Before we begin, let's see if we can get a little bit spookier in here. There we go. Hello everyone and welcome to Soul Show. My name is Soul, and today we are reviewing something very special. But before we begin, I just want to play a quick game with you guys. If you have played Limbo and you enjoyed it, give this video a thumbs up. However, if you played it and you did not enjoy it, you're like, fuck Limbo, feel free to give this video a dislike, guilt-free. With that being said, let's jump into this. So Limbo, if you guys haven't played Limbo and don't know much about it, all you gotta know is it's a indie game, indie platformer, and like a lot of these other titles that are similar to it, it got huge, great critical feedback, reviewers loved it, high scores, all of that good stuff. And it felt really great to scratch Limbo off of my to-play list because I have been waiting to play this game for a lot of years now. The first time I heard about this game, it was when it was covered by X-Play. If you guys remember X-Play, you're cool. They covered it, they reviewed it, they gave it a 5 out of 5. I was like, what? This is a crazy game. And basically, it was the first game to be introduced to me as indie. It was the game that introduced me to the concept of indie. And, you know, it feels good to finally play it. And you might be sitting there thinking, well, if you waited all this time and it got all these high scores, you probably had high expectations. And let me tell you, yeah, I kind of did. Were my expectations a little bit too high? I don't think I set myself up. Like, I don't try to buy into the hype with these kind of things. But when something is reserved, if you have reserved hype, that's almost way worse. But thankfully, this game didn't let me down. It's still a good game. I'll explain. And this is one of those games, like, I'll start with what I like about it, but real quick, this game has been dissected. There's so many videos out about this game. People love it. There's like in-depth analytical shit that you can watch. My review isn't gonna be that. I would recommend those videos though. I'll try to add to this conversation as best as I can. First off, I think Limbo was the perfect difficulty for me. I died plenty of times, and at the same time, whenever I died, I never felt cheated or betrayed by the game mechanics. And, you know, a lot of the times it would lead you one way, knowing you're probably going to die, but then you learn from that mistake. So, although I died plenty of times, and there's that level where if I would have died, like, enough times, I would have just been like, you know what, fuck it. But that didn't happen. And I did not once look up how to get farther in the game. But so it was a very rewarding experience in that sense. Maybe it's just because I really almost caved in into looking up online, but I didn't. I didn't look it up once. I know, hold your applause. I didn't look up online how to beat Limbo. That's an achievement right there. Not really. Okay, I'm gonna stop. And I think Limbo is a really good example of trial and error done well. For instance, when you die, the camera, you know, it focuses in and it shows this little boy dying very gruesomely, and you tighten and you get this sick feeling. And so when you die, you really feel it. And sometimes the traps will be right where they know you want to go, so you'll jump right where you want to go. Oh, trap. And then you feel it. But then you come back. And you know it's there, and you start, you know, just getting farther and farther down the line, and then you succeed. You feel that reward. You are on top of the world. This little boy isn't going to die gruesomely. Success. And the biggest compliment I can give this game is its immersion. This is one of those times I was able to just kind of sit down, dim the lights that right level, and just kind of let myself soak in everything. And it felt like so good because this game it's so important, and it has so much emphasis on subtlety. The subtle noises are what's gonna get you. It's what's gonna make those like hairs on the back of your neck stand up. It's the subtle movements, the subtle things that happen on screen that I don't want to go into because of spoilers. they're all part of this immersion, and it's one of those games that it's gonna suck you in no matter what, and you're gonna feel what it wants you to feel. I was in this lifeless, dark little world, and I think, the biggest compliment I can give is it was a detailed world. However, I think this game gets a very bad case of a term that I can describe as like guilt likability. It's one of those games, it's artsy, it's got 10 out of 10s, 5 out of 5s across the board. So gamers who like to think of themselves as, mature and they enjoy these high class, games, they feel guilt if they don't enjoy it like that. So I think this game has accumulated a lot of fans and fan base out of people who just maybe are dick riding it a little bit. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not saying it's a bad game. I'm saying maybe some of the fans are just, liking it because they feel obligated to. And if my reviews follow that weird scale where like a 10 out of 10 means flawless, which I never understood that, but let's say a 10 out of 10 is flawless, then yeah, Limbo doesn't really make many mistakes, so I would consider it like a 9 or 10 out of 10. But like I've always said, my reviews are subjective and solely based on my experience. And as neat as I thought Limbo was, I can't say I loved it. After hours of traversing this world, I thought it was neat. I thought it was artistic, and I felt all the punches it threw at me, but by the time it ended, I felt like, oh, relieved, I'm done with this game. I can move on to the next one. And in all honesty, I think this might have been like the hardest game to finally figure out my final thoughts on it. Because on one hand, I was like, no, this game is great. It's artsy, it's stylish, it does everything I would like, and I really enjoy a lot of it. But at the same time, I'm like, but it's not really bringing much to the table. It's just a very simple indie game, and would you really love it if like all these other people weren't out here explaining how great it is? Would you? Is that determining something? And I'm just somewhere in between, like, oh, I don't know. That's where I stand. I stand between thinking it's a great game that I loved, and I think it did a lot really well, and I'm somewhere between it was a very simple, okay game. I don't even know. And with all that being said, guys, before I give my score, just if you watched the review, you would understand, it's a jumbled bag. But that jumbled bag ends at a 7 out of 10. Thank you guys so much for watching. I super appreciate it. And if you haven't played Limbo, I would recommend it. Maybe you'll at least stand somewhere where I'm at. Anyway, thank you so much. As always, you can check out my Twitter and Patreon if you feel so inclined. And with that, I leave you.